Welcome to SecuriTea. Yes, we're keeping it that way. Xander Alexander here, where we talk about signal over noise, integration over silos, and action over outrage. Today, I have the pleasure. We are in Denver, Colorado. Seems like I'm on the road a whole lot right now, doing traveling podcasts. Maybe I should make that a thing. But I'm speaking with Wayne Smith from Tech Systems. How you feeling today, Wayne?
Great.
Doing well?
Thanks for having me.
So Matt connected us, right?
Right.
The president CEO of PSA. And one of the things when I went to go research about you, your company, that I found very, very intriguing is that you guys have your 27001 and what's the AI one that recently came out? What is it?
42001.
42001. And when did that come out?
Let's see, we got it in 25, so
Okay.
I think it was maybe just on the back half of 24.
So what I find very, very interesting, because you are a security company, and I want to know a little bit more about Tech Systems and why you guys went that route of obtaining those two certifications, right? But what I find just really, really fascinating, on top of the fact that you have these two, is it seems as if that your company does a lot with convergence. And convergence is one of the things that I champion as I go around and I speak at different conferences and events. I'm always talking about the convergence. Probably a good bit because I come from a cybersecurity background and now I'm in this physical security world. And those two things, we were talking off camera a moment ago, they absolutely collide, they cross over, they blur the lines. And so I guess, first of all, tell me about yourself, Wayne.
Okay.
Kind of your history a little bit.
Yeah, appreciate it again. So I'm CEO of Tech Systems today, but back in probably the early 2000s, we were working with Tech Systems on a number of projects. Company I worked with, I was responsible for cybersecurity and physical security. Yeah, so we probably have a passion about the same things and the criticality of that. But Daryl Keeler, who was the original founder, asked me to come over to Tech Systems to help, bridge that gap in convergence. And so I think if you look back to that time frame, it was a buzzword back then. Right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about how slow the industry works and how slow they really adopt some of these cyber concepts and stuff like that. So we came over and almost immediately, I went on the road talking about some of the same things today, evangelist for convergence, the whole physical logical connection. And so, from that, we've built over the course of the last 20 years in particular, yes, we do security like a lot of other integrators out there do, but we also are very innovative and we're very technical in our approach. So we're able to do large scale, complex solutions, build APIs, do a lot of the things that most integrators don't want to do or have the capacity to do. So when it comes to cybersecurity, something I'm very passionate about, we started out to achieve the ISO 27 because I believe if you're going to be out there talking to people and we work some of the biggest brands in the world, right? Fortune 500s, a lot of healthcare, some critical infrastructure type people. So if you're going to do that kind of work, you got to be careful about what you're putting on the network, and you got to make sure that you're going through, the governance and whatnot. So that was the reason why we chose to pursue the 2701 was to, give us a leg up, a bit of a advantage to our competition who they may talk about it, but we actually live it.
You do it.
And put it in everything that we do in terms of even selecting product.
Okay.
So, we want to make sure that whatever products we're putting on networks are also, they're cybersecurity. They have the right hardening and things like that are going on before we ever take it to the client and even recommend something like that. So that was a precursor. 2701 was, I think, in 2017. And then the 4201 we got in 24, I believe, early 25.
Was that something that you helped champion, or the CEO president at the time, was that something that he
No, it
foresaw?
was something, collectively as a group, we did. Obviously I championed it as well, but it was important to us because we saw where things were going. Right? And now, if you go back 3 years ago at the ISC West show, you would have seen AI, but not to the level that it is now. Everything that you see and touch out there now has got some sort of AI in it, whether you're doing that internally or externally. So we felt like, again, if we're going to be out there on that bandwagon, we need to know and make sure that people are confident in what we know and that we're doing the right thing. So I think the important part about 4201 is, you don't become some AI expert, but what you do become is cognizant of the fact that there's a lot of pitfalls.
Correct.
There's a lot of inaccurate things being said out there. There's a lot of products that have a lot of hype that don't actually live the value there. So I think from our perspective, it was always about, hey, let's make sure that we're putting this in our process. If we're going to, again, select a product, then let's make sure that they've at least looked at some of these frameworks, that they're looking at good governance, good ethical practices, and that sort of thing. So that's why we pursued that.
So in essence, just like 27001, 27001, it has these guardrails. It brings some type of standardization to the table, which is better than nothing. Now, I'm sure that they'll do tweaks if they, right? No, probably every year, maybe every 6 months, right? But it'll be ongoing. Let me ask you this. What type of doors? Well, I have two questions. I'll ask another one first. So you mentioned a moment ago that the adoption is slow for the physical side of security.
Right.
Any thoughts as to why that is?
I don't know. Well, it's disappointing. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Again, because coming from an IT background, we did things much more rapidly, but there were a lot of standards around it, as you well know. I think the physical security side of the domain has not really had that. It's not been standards and some other things put in there. So it is very slow. However, I think the rate of change today is really, really fast in our industry today. So, people have built onto it. We're not going back.
You're not.
I used to have conversations with people all the time. And they say, well, we don't have to go to a DVR or an NVR or whatever. There's really no choice here. The choice going forward is everything is on a network. I don't care what kind of product it is. Nobody's buying analog cameras on there. Maybe a couple of government agencies still believe in that. Not much.
I'm not so with that.
So I think it's really a matter of choice now that they were being dragged along for a long time. It was, and I think now it's forced adoption. And now that doesn't mean that you go out and make radical decisions. I just feel like that we're at that place now where the technology is moving so fast and so rapidly. And you look at the products that we have out there; they're doing a really good job. The products that I look at a Motorola. I was just at their convention in San Diego, and I know there's a real emphasis on.
I was there too. I didn't see you there.
We should have got together.
We should.
But no, you look at that. I mean, they're on the right path. If you look at the ones that are doing really well, I won't name a lot of other names out there, but they're all have that strategy, and I think that's what's separating a lot of it. So the adoption is much faster. And I think people realize that there's not really an alternative here. You're either gonna do it. I'm not one of those people that say get on board or you're gonna be out of business.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a good business and it'll last, but for our business, this was the right thing to do.
Yeah. I am of the opinion of if you do not get on board, I'm not sure what that timeline will be.
Right.
But I am of the opinion that it will not. I don't think you will last. I think you will slowly evaporate because it is absolutely pivoting. So let me ask you this. Since you helped champion bringing those two very powerful certifications to tech systems, what would you say is for someone, we're at an integrator type conference. So what would you tell an integrator who wants to get into or perhaps add additional services? What would kind of be the first, say, 3 steps that they would do?
That's a great question. And I'll take this opportunity to tell you that I was telling somebody this earlier. Our company, even 6-8 years ago, we're doing a lot more services today than we were ever as a traditional, because of the IT background. I would tell them, first of all, some people can be taught, right?
Okay.
In this industry, it's easier. I believe it's easier to teach an IT person some of the physical trade. Sometimes that's opposite. But I will say, you have to go out and find the help. You have to go out and find the expertise.
The talent.
Lean on people, look for the talent, and then bring those people into the organization that can help change and affect the right change. I'm not a big, I would say I'm not a big believer in, if they don't have the skill set now,
Yes.
It's going to take a long time for them to learn the skill set on this side of the house.
So what I hear is find the talent.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that talent can be grown from the inside, I guess if you feel as if you have the right people in place that are willing to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting enough, I was having a conversation last night, and today I had a presentation built around RMR.
Mm-hmm.
And so how you mentioned a moment ago, as far as since you guys have introduced these services, right, to that is RMR, right? And so I was having a conversation and they were kind of challenging me, which is good because as you're being challenged, then that helps sharpen you as a person. So I was not mad, upset, or anything of that nature. In case you're viewing, I thank you for challenging me. And so, but as they were challenging me as I was going across the RMR, one of the things they said was it's very hard for them to find talent that they can, or let me put it this way, talent that's already with the company, already kind of stuck within their ways, so to speak. And so how do we actually grow? And what I was proposing to him was, all right, so you want to try to create RMR, and that provides different services that you may need to expand and offer. So, but with that, even though you have those services that you want to expand into, the salespeople are still kind of the same. Selling is selling, right? Now you have to get to know the product and whatnot. And so one thing that he was challenging me on was, as someone who represents a manufacturer, that we should be bringing certain things to the table, such as if there are fees or say an auditor comes in and something is incorrect, that as the manufacturer, we should be telling the integrator as to what those fees and things are because we have vertical-based experts. And so I said, yes, I think that is also the case, but why are your salespeople not going out researching as to what they may be? Yeah. And so one of the pushbacks that he had for me was, you can't really change these older, I say older people, I don't mean older people, but people who have, I don't mean that, I don't mean that way. And so, but how do you go about changing someone who's kind of stuck within their ways?
Yeah, it's interesting. A couple of things you said there that I would point out. First of all, I think by having the expertise in-house, you're going to find other avenues of RMR. So fortunately for us, we're a company that today, over 40% of our revenue is recurring revenue, RMR.
That's beautiful.
Either traditional service or through managed services, professional services, GSOC type services. So I don't think you can get there if you don't have the right people, right? So, and then whose responsibility is it? I think it's, you mentioned that that discussion you were having with someone. I think it's the manufacturer. I think it's the integrator, and it's also the end user's responsibility.
So it's all of us together.
Everybody together, right?
You can't pin it on one person.
No, because if I've got a combative relationship with the manufacturer where I feel like, if I put a product in and it's, we didn't do some things right, it's the finger pointing, nobody wins there. Before I joined Tech Systems, I was a client on the end user side, right? So I was that client over there that never understood that relationship between the manufacturer and the integrator, right? Because you always have, somebody even mentioned it today at the conferences, you want to keep the manufacturer at arm's length distance. I'm 100% opposite.
Yeah, I know.
I think we got to collaborate together, right? Because we talk about cybersecurity and AI. If I don't bring you to the table and talk about the things that are important, like the governance, the things that we need to make sure that legal compliance and that sort of thing, and the technical piece. And as an integrator, I just put something on someone's network. I've just created a situation there that's probably not good for anybody, you, me.
Yeah.
So I think it takes everybody, and I think you have to constantly develop that and bring in people that can that think that way, right? Instead of I'm going to protect what I have here. Yes. I don't want anybody else in there. It's seen as a distraction.
All those people that need seats at the table.
Yeah.
And try and be in the last, I say but I hate when people say just because you don't know what I'm getting ready to say. As a public speaker, it's just one of the things that sticks out in my head. Slight pet peeve in my. Anyways, so people having a seat at the table and coming to the table early rather than pulling in IT at kind of the last moment. Or, you know what? We don't particularly have the money over here in the physical security part, but it's touching the network, so hey, IT department, can we get a little something, something? And so, but everyone, if we come to the seat or come to the table all together at the very beginning with the manufacturer, with the end user, with the integrator, and all those coming together, I think we can solve the outcome or bring outcomes sooner
Yeah,
rather than later.
100%.
So we're at PSA, right? Once again, tech, we're in Denver. What do you think about this year? Have you been to any of the previous ones?
Yes, I've been to many PSA
Okay.
events, and I was just commenting earlier, and so the attendance is great. I think they're back up to pre-COVID levels, maybe 800.
There's a lot of people
There's
here.
A lot of people.
A lot more. I didn't know what I was walking into.
Yeah, it's a great show. I think that they've got the right technology here. They got the right people here. We're trying to elevate the industry.
Yes.
This conversation here is about elevating the industry. So I think it's wonderful. I love it. I was just at the ISC West show a couple weeks ago. I think the energy, the technology, the people, I mean, everything seems to be going really well right now.
It seems to be a lot of momentum happening
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
At least it feels that way internally. Anything else that you would like to share or comment about? I know we didn't get to the security headline that I wanted to initially share about, but I thought this conversation was probably a little bit better in essence of just talking about those two big certifications. And you are one of the few companies that I've seen that holds both of them.
I think we're the only security integrator out there. I know on the 4201, we were one of the very
first. You were one of the first,
to get it. And I know everybody else is pursuing it now. So listen, I believe education, knowledge lifts everybody. I hope that every other integrator out there pursues these things because I think it will make them better.
Yes.
And again, if we're, this community is a very small community, but we want to lift everybody up. And I hope that we are lifting the security integration company, the physical security companies up to a place where everybody can level up. And then, the conversation you were talking about with someone about having those opportunities for RMR, this will expand a lot of opportunities.
It really will.
I spoke this morning, somebody asked me, well, what's the future for tech systems? And I can confidently say we have more opportunity now than we've ever had. I want that for everyone, right? Because I think that's just good, healthy competition. So that would be my only comment.
Yeah.
Let's lift everybody up and let's educate people and do better as an organization, do better as an industry.
For sure. Well, Wayne, I thank you for your time. For the audience, thank you for tuning in to SecuriTea.